Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Brooke and today I am going to do a story time. This story time is kind of like a story within a story, kind of like Inception. I was thinking about this main story and it got me back thinking to this other story, which led to this other story. And so it's kind of a build-up, kind of controversial in the sense, like scientific sense controversial. It's not like a Bigfoot story or anything like that, although I do like watching Bigfoot videos. I love watching those. But this is well, you're just gonna have to watch and see. This story goes all the way back even to when I was a baby in the 80s. Oh gosh, don't do your math because you'll know how old I am. But this story goes all the way back to the 80s. It might even go back further than that I know. But for me and my family and the people I know, it's in the 80s. So I'm gonna back it up. We're gonna back it up all the way into the 90s. 6 or 7 years old. My mom and dad ran this apartment complex and we lived kind of like at the very beginning corner of this building, and it was like the office and everything. It was in the middle of summer and I was standing by like these sliding doors that led out to the patio, and the patio there was like, you know, quite a bit of yard, and then there was a huge parking lot, and then beyond the parking lot was this huge hill, and like it was a big hill. We used to go sledding on it and it was a lot of fun. And then right beyond that hill was some woods, and it wasn't developed much back when we were younger. I'm sure it is nowadays, but so that kind of gives you an idea of the layout. So anyways, my mom was with this lady, and I don't know if they're talking business stuff or lady stuff, who knows. So I'm standing by the sliding doors, and all of a sudden I hear like this really loud sound, and it sounded like a stampede. That's the only way I can, it was a stampede, it pretty much was. I'm standing there and I look up, and there is like 30 plus deer running single file all down, like out of the woods, as fast as they can down this hill, and they're coming across the parking lot, and they come running right by our front porch, which is like 4 feet from where I was standing. And they're running super fast, and there's mamas and babies and huge bucks, and they're running single file, and they're all running as fast as they can, and they're running, and I'm like, duh, duh, duh. I couldn't get it out. I was so shocked. And they're like, you could hear the sound of their footprints or their hooves or whatever it is that's pounding against the ground, and they're going so fast. And I'm like, my mom thought something was wrong with me. She thought like I was like something physically was wrong with me, and she's like, what is wrong? So when she heard the commotion outside, she looked and she's like, oh my gosh. And there was over 30 deer running. So we go outside, and we're in the middle of town. These deer are running, we can see them because we were by this park, and then there was like a big middle school and an elementary school. They ran right by the schools, and they were going down the streets. It was crazy. And we watched them as far as we could see. It made papers, and it was crazy. It was like the talk of the town. And I will never forget, like, it was nuts. And we don't know, like, nobody knows why they were running and what caused it. And I mean, there are a lot of coyotes in Michigan. And I mean, they technically probably, there could have been a pack of coyotes that spooked them. Something spooked these deers to stampede into town, into the city like that. And it wasn't hunting season. I mean, it would make sense if it was like hunting season, especially like gun season. That would make sense, you know. But I mean, some of you are probably gonna say it was Bigfoot. But I mean, it is pretty strange when you think about it, and not normal behavior. So, I mean, technically it could be a pack of coyotes, or it could be the Michigan Black Panthers, which leads me to my next story. So this is all taking place in southern Michigan, and so we're 20 minutes in another, like, kind of like the next city over pretty much. And but this is like prior to that, so I'm even younger. I was around 2 years old, and my brother and I, 2 or 3 years old, my brother was a year younger. And we had a swing set, play set behind the house, and we were kind of like on the outskirt, the outer city limits of town, and there was quite a bit of woods in that area, but it was right beside a major Michigan highway. And my dad went in the backyard to play with us and probably shoot his bow and arrow, I don't know. He was on the back with us, and he noticed some really large cat footprints. And I don't know, I've mentioned on my channel, I've mentioned here on my channel what my dad does. He's pretty, like, well known, that's what I'll say. He's pretty well known in the hunting community. He is a professional. He makes like DVDs and hunting, we'll just say equipment, because I don't really want to give it away who he is, I guess. I mean, I could, but I've mentioned it before. He makes hunting gear and sells it in Cabela's and places like that. And so my point of mentioning that is that my dad's not a dummy. His job is to know animals. He goes to speaking. He does speaking seminars and teaching people about animals, and he's just very knowledgeable when it comes to animals. So I believe my dad 100%. And anyways, so he seen what he thought was cougar prints or some kind of large cat, which is not a native, it's not native to southern Michigan. I believe there's cougars in northern Michigan, but not in southern Michigan. They're not supposed to be there, like meaning like they're not naturally there. If you don't know what that means, they're not like naturally supposed to be in that region, if that makes sense. So my dad told my mom not to let us kids out, and not for her to go outside, and when she lets the dog out, to be very careful, you know. So it was like the next day, my dad went down the street to breakfast, and him and his buddy were having breakfast, and they noticed something from the corner of their eye, and it was a black, we'll just say, I don't want to say Black Panther, but it was a Black Panther, which I'll get to in a minute. Don't let me explain the Black Panther thing, but first they seen a very large cat that was black, and it was pouncing out of the weeds up and down. It was not a house cat. My dad wouldn't. My dad knows the difference between a house cat and a large cat. And anyways, he seen it pouncing something, and it was going up and down, and every time a car would go by, it would like hunch down, and after the car would pass, it'd get back up, and it was pouncing on something, probably like a bunny or something. I don't know, that's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong, I'm probably wrong. But so they got up to go outside, and the cat was gone. So my dad goes home, straight home, because our house is like less than a mile from there, and he had seen the cat tracks, so he was worried, you know. So he goes straight home, and a Michigan State Trooper shows up at our door before my dad can even call them and tell them what's going on. Shows up at our door and says that they had several calls about sightings of a Black Panther by and around our house, behind our house and around it. So my dad's like, yeah, I believe you, because I seen tracks in the back. And I guess him and the trooper probably looked at the tracks and everything, and and told them just to keep an eye on us kids, not to let us outside and unsupervised and that kind of stuff, and just to be aware and cautious. So that confirmed what my dad had seen, because he's seen it himself. He told him he's seen it. So that was a huge confirmation with my dad, and he's seen it with his own eyes, and his buddy seen it too. Both of them are reputable men who wouldn't tell a tall tale like that. Like my dad wouldn't see, you know, a tomcat or something like that, or a bobcat. My dad knows the difference. So anyways, it was rumored, they never found it, but there has been so many sightings in Michigan. It was rumored that someone had a black panther, or a couple of them, and let them loose in the area because they couldn't afford them anymore, so they just let them loose. There's been so many panther sightings in southern Michigan, specifically black panthers, and this is where the controversy begins. But so panther, I always thought when you say panther it meant cougar, puma, you know, I thought that was all the same thing. Mountain lion, cougar. But really, panther just means a large. I'm not being completely scientific. I know that, and I know people probably correct me in the comments, and that's okay because I'm not claiming to be some scholar. But I know that the word panther. So panther is really like a large cat. That is what the definition of it. That's what it means. Saying there's a black panther isn't scientifically correct, because that is like a category for a large cat. There's no such thing. I mean, scientifically they don't call them like a black cougar. A black cougar is really just a cougar with like a melon, like it produces too much melon, like that. Or like you have like an all white, you don't say, oh, that's a white cougar, it's an albino cougar. So if you get my drift. But I don't know why people get so hung up on saying, I don't know why people get so hung up on you saying like that's a black cougar or whatever, because if it's solid black, then obviously the color is black, so why can't you just say black cougar? I don't understand what the huge deal is. I guess scientifically it's like a no-no, I guess, or I don't know. I don't really think it's that serious. But like you have leopards can be black, jaguars black, cougars can be black. It all depends on the melanin. So the one that my dad's seen, he believes that it was a black cougar. It was jet black, solid black. The ones that have been spotted in southern Michigan are believed to be black cougars. It's a gene, I think, part of a gene in their DNA that makes them produce more melanin, and they're more black. And maybe, I don't know. But that's just like kind of like the scientific rundown a little bit, just to give you guys a gist of why it's such a like big deal and controversy. You can do more research on that. Like I said, I'm no scholar in the area. That's just a little bit of what I know. So ever since the 80s, there's been a lot of cougar sightings, specifically black panther, black cougar sightings, and even just regular color cougars. So the cougars are definitely in the area, but there's been a lot of sightings. Fast forward 20 plus years, I'm sitting at the dinner table with my grandfather, and he asked me if I had seen or read this newspaper article, and I said, let me see. I go, no. I told him, no, what's it about? And it was about the Division of Wildlife, how they had spotted 28 different sightings of black cougars in southern Michigan area, from like the city of Lansing, all the way down to the Michigan-Ohio state border. And I'm not from Lansing area, I'm southern Michigan, more southern Michigan. So I was really interested in this article, and 28 different sightings is quite a bit. Obviously it's not all the same black cougar. They did say that they can't say there's 28 different ones. There's definitely multiple black cougars roaming southern Michigan. So I do believe as of now cougars are still protected by state law, that they're listed under endangered species, so they cannot be killed or shot. So at the time of the article, there was no plans on relocating them. I think they were just planning on tracking them and pretty much seeing how nature took its course, I guess. I don't know. I know they're still protected by law. So there's just been a lot of sightings, especially in the county that I grew up in. And specifically, it was, how many years ago? I want to say maybe 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, downtown, literally like inside the city, right in front of the courthouse at nighttime, there was a state trooper called, I don't know if someone called in that they seen a Black Panther cougar walking around town, or if he just seen it on his own. But there was a Michigan state trooper, and he seen this younger black cougar walking around in front of the courthouse for a few minutes, and he called DNR, and I don't know what all happened. I believe DNR got there after the cat. I know the cat took off after I think he got out of his patrol vehicle and was going to try to get a closer look, and I believe the cat took off before DNR was able to get there. But there is a Michigan state trooper that went on record saying that he did in fact see the black cougar inside city limits walking in front of the courthouse, which is just mind-blowing to me. It's crazy. So there is a lot of sightings, and there's a lot of people that have just seen like normal cougars in the area, like normal colored. Like a lot of people have had well, not a lot. There was a few people that had a horse killed by a cougar. Actually, it was only a mile down from my old house where my dad seen the cougar prints to begin with in the 80s. So this whole story about the Michigan Black Panther, it's just, I believe it. Like the black cougar. My dad's seen it firsthand, and it would be really, I don't want to say it's a long shot, but for some reason all this started happening in the 80s, and I truly believe how, like, all this started happening in the 80s, and I truly believe that my dad witnessed probably the original cougar. I think the original black cougar was the one in our backyard. From rumors, it was someone had I think a pair of black cougars and set them free, and it was like something like they couldn't afford them, and that was the rumor, was that they couldn't afford them, so they set them free. And Michigan is very bountiful with deer. It has a great deer population. And what do cougars eat? Deer. I'm sure they eat bunnies, which is sad. I mean, it's circle of life. But I mean, they have pretty much a really good environment. They have a lot of deer. There's a lot of deer for them to eat. There's a lot of water in southern Michigan. There's a lot of lakes, rivers, ponds, swamps, swales. There's a lot of woods for them. I can see why they would flourish in southern Michigan. To be honest, I can see why they didn't. It is harsh winters, but there's mountain lions, cougars out here in the Rockies, and we have a very harsh winters too, and a lot more snowfall, I would think, in the mountains than we do back home in Michigan. So I can definitely see them surviving easily in Michigan, southern Michigan. Well, that is not like a problem that I see. I can see why they flourish, but I truly believe that my dad's seen the original black cougar and that it may have mated with the other black cougar that they rumored to have been released into the wild, or maybe it found another cougar in the area and had a litter with, and maybe that gene has just been passed along. You never know. And so maybe it's just its offspring has had, I mean, we're talking over 20 years ago, so there could have been a lot of litters throughout the years, and out of those litters, I'm sure the gene was passed along, and perhaps another black cougar came out of the litter, which then produced more, maybe. This is just a hunch. And that could be why there's other cougars in the area that never used to be. I just have a gut feeling that the cougar that was in our backyard was the original cougar that started all of this. I just have a feeling that this has just been like a domino effect, because this area has just been heavily sighted, and it's pretty neat. And when you think about, like, when I think about stories about as a kid, you know, seeing like a stampede of deer running down into the city, into town, like, what would scare and possess that many deer to run like that? Like I said before, yeah, it could have been coyotes, maybe. I mean, I don't see them running into town like that. Some people may say Bigfoot, if you're a Bigfoot believer, or Michigan Dogman. Ooh. No, I don't believe in Michigan Dogman, but I do believe in the Black Panther, black cougar in Michigan, because I know several people that have seen it, including my father, and even a state trooper has shown up to our house telling us that there was one behind our yard, in our backyard. So it is 100% legit. When people are asking about it, it's legit. It's true. I see some people on here posting on YouTube. I got on YouTube to see if anybody had any videos. There's a couple videos, but some of the videos are like legit, like a black feral cat, tomcat, walking around, and people are like, I'm like, really? That people are gonna not take anything I say seriously if you put that kind of stuff on the internet. But no, really, it's a true story. I would not lie to you guys. My dad would not lie. The state trooper would not lie. Newspapers, media might lie. You got me there. Media might lie. No, the media would not report something about the DNR and false. And they reported about the other trooper spotted. They also reported they can't make false accusations about the trooper being spotting the cougar at the courthouse just a few years ago. So there are legitimate claims, and it's just interesting. You never know what's lurking in your woods. I still love the woods, but it is interesting to think about, like, all the animals that people set free that we don't know about. Like, I've heard stories about people setting sharks free in ponds, which, I mean, if they set them free in like Michigan, the sharks are gonna die in the winter. But I mean, I've heard stories like certain kinds of snakes being found that aren't native to the area. Certain, like, what was it? That Nile crocodile Amazonian crocodile. I'm probably butchering all this, but there is an African crocodile found in Florida that's not native to this area, and you know it was probably somebody that set it free. Sure, our woods hide a lot of secrets, but so that is just my thoughts on the Michigan Black Cougar, Black Panther. Sadly, the Pink Panther does not exist. That would be cool. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this. I just wanted to put out some new content for you guys, and I enjoy story times, and if you guys do, let me know down below, and let me know what kind of topics, if you do want me to continue doing story times, what kind of topics you want to hear or stories you want to hear. I would be more than happy to do it. I just wanted to change things up on my channel, not have all the same content up here, so just give you guys something different to watch. But yeah, I'm really curious to know what your guys' thoughts are down below, so let me know. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it, and that way you can stay connected with more storytime videos or whatever videos I feel like putting up for the day. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and God bless. Bye. You guys, I caught a cat. I caught one. She's a cutie. I don't know if I've shown you guys Ruby in a while. This is my baby cat Ruby. She's 7 months old. I think the last time I showed her she was like 3 months old, and she is a growing. She's so cute. Oh, she's so sweet. I just love her. Hey, mama. Hey. She lets me hold her like a baby. Hey, baby. Do you think the Michigan Black Panther is real? I'm a crazy cat lady. Isn't she cute? My baby. See my baby. Anyways, bye. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye from me and Ruby. We'll see you in the next video. Say bye. Say bye. See you guys. Mwah.